Hasni Abidi, hello. You lead the Study and Research Center for the Arab and Mediterranean World in Geneva. This wave of attacks in France and elsewhere raises several questions, particularly on security. But let's try to understand this phenomenon. What do these isolated attacks tell us about ISIL's strategy?
These acts show a paradigm shift and a change in ISIL's doctrine, which has moved on to a new and I would say more dangerous stage that could be seen as a turning point in their existence. Today, in the spotlight, you have these so-called lone wolves, but they're not that lone. They carry out these attacks wherever they are and whenever they can. It's a strategy of political opportunism, where they take advantage of any security loopholes to launch their attacks. And at the same time, this strategy shows us that ISIL is being weakened, thanks to the coalition's airstrikes. And it's losing ground and losing influence in Syria and Iraq. That, in turn, fuels a desire to sow chaos, disorder and shock in the states or territories where they can effectively strike.
For sure, in terms of impact, it's working by causing trouble, panic, suspicion. Do you think this will profoundly change our societies here in Europe?
I hope not, because the aim of ISIL is, of course, the fear and shock caused by an attack, more so than the human toll, in order to change public opinion. ISIL absolutely wants the countries that are part of the coalition to give up and stop taking part in the airstrikes. They also want to pit parts of the population against others. They know that our democratic societies are open, diverse, and also vulnerable.
We know it. Muslims themselves say it. Attacks like these have nothing to do with Islam. But the jihadists say they're guided by Islam. How can we avoid mixing up the two and not let this turn into civil war, as ISIL wants?
It's true that those who commit these acts are terrorists who don't represent the Muslim community nor Islam. But we also have to say there needs to be some kind of accountability. Muslims need to stop hiding and admit that, yes, the attackers are members of the Muslim community. Secondly, it's true that these terrorists tend to have chaotic life stories, problems in their family, at school, in terms of integration, so there's also more local responsibility.
But it is troubling. We're seeing more and more people turning against Muslims and people who are angry about how helpless or ineffective the state is. Isn't that exactly what the jihadists are after?
Yes, that's why we must not fall into the trap of a religious war. This is not a war between religions. ISIL does not represent religion. Terrorism has no religion. But there is a real risk of social friction, tensions within the population, because attacking a church or a priest equates to attacking a fundamental element of identity. And society must really start reflecting on ways to rein in this terror, on the right approach to resist the panic and chaos that ISIL wants to implant into our societies.
Hasni Abidi, thank you for your insight.
Merci à vous.